Hey everyone, and welcome to Making Sales Social Live, brought to you by Social Sales Link. I'm Bob Woods, the LinkedIn Sherpa, and I am joined by Bryn Tillman, fellow LinkedIn and social selling professional and maybe professor, I don't know, also known as the LinkedIn Whisperer. How you doing today, Bryn?
I'm good. I'll take professor. I love that title.
Yeah, that's great.
That
Yeah,
would be fine.
official. Yeah, cool. Let's do it then.
Welcome to Making Sales Social Live, as we share LinkedIn and social selling training, strategies, and tips that will have an immediate impact on your business. Join Bryn Tillman and me, Bob Woods, every week. Making Sales Social Live. This is the recorded version of our weekly Making Sales Social Live show.
So today we're going to be talking about one of the more hotter things going on right now when it comes to social and what we do and things like that. Chat GPT. It is all the rage right now. In fact, it's so much of the rage that South Park's most recent episode is on Chat GPT. And quite honestly, if you watch it, there are some things that they talk about that are going to resonate with you after you watch this. If you're not a South Park fan, I get it, but if you are and you like it, there's actually some really good stuff in there about Chat GPT.
It's viral.
Yeah, exactly. South Park definitely has its finger on the pulse of what people are talking about. So, speaking of developing content with the help of AI, sounds like a dream come true. But as with anything in life, with great power comes great responsibility. The responsibility here, in our opinion, is to not use it, let's just say, in a brainless type of way. Even though you have access to this powerful tool, you still need to be genuine and authentic in anything you do on LinkedIn and with social selling with it, right, Bryn?
Absolutely. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk a lot about that authentic piece, Bob. That is so important to us to make sure that however you're using it, it's your voice that gets publicly published.
Absolutely. So Bryn's been playing with Chat GPT for a while now, and I've just begun exploring how to use it specifically for social selling and on LinkedIn. We now have 7 ways to utilize it in that authentic and genuine way. So the first area that we're going to talk about is social listening and learning, which I think is huge and probably not something that a lot of people necessarily think about when it comes to AI and ChatGPT, Brent.
So I'm going to give a few examples, kind of rapid fire. We could go deeper at another time, but we have a lot to go through. But here are a few
Yeah.
examples. One of the things that you can do if you are a disc person, if you understand the disc profile, dominant, influential, safety. I know them by birds because of
Yeah.
taking flight,
And
but the disc profile, right? So if you put in disc profile and paste the LinkedIn URL of someone, it will analyze their profile and give you an overview of what matters to them and what kind of profile they are. Absolutely
amazing.
phenomenal. Number two, to use this from a social listening perspective, if you want to identify, and I thought that Stan Robinson and I were playing with this earlier, if you want to identify what roles purchase CRM software or are part of the purchasing decision of CRM software, it's going to give you a list of roles. Like, that's amazing, right?
It's amazing.
The next thing that we asked it were regulatory risks for employees. In this case, we said using ChatGPT, but it could be anything, right? And we had risks and answers. And it gave us, here's the risk, here's how to overcome it. Here's the risk, how to overcome it.
Oh my God.
Then last I'm going to say, and this is more sales, and I could go on because I'm obsessed. This is my new like hobby. The last one, oh wait, now I don't remember what my last one was going to be. This is a little more in depth, and I'm not going to go through the step by step, but I am going to tomorrow during our members only coaching. You can create a list of, let's say, 25 sales leadership quotes and it'll have Jeffrey Gitomer, Mark Hunter, all like famous people, Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, right? So you get 25 quotes, you copy them, you paste them into a CSV file, upload it to Canva, and it will automatically create 25 branded quotes for you. So
just amazing.
Yeah, so that's not actually listening. I went a little crazy.
That's fine, because you can go crazy with this.
That was the other one Stan and I did. We put in 10 common objections buyers have when buying CRM software. And it gave us the objections and the answers. That preparing, it's unbelievable. Really crazy. Okay, what's number 2?
Number 2 is text for curated content. And this, I imagine, is probably where a lot of people are going to use it, because I've been writing for decades and decades and decades now. And yet sometimes when I sit down and I know what I want to say and I'm staring at that blank Word document, I don't know where to start. And I think that this is where ChatGPT can really come in and help things and help people out.
So wait, is this one about comments or?
No. This is text for curated content.
Okay, great. Same thing like we did with the URL. Go into chat, grab the link to the curated piece of content that you want to share. If you're curating a podcast or a video, it's got to have show notes or something to pull from. It won't pull directly from the video itself. It needs text. So you grab the link, you put it in ChatGPT, and you say 3-sentence recap, and it will recap everything. And then you need to go read it, and with everything before you use it, read it and put it in your words. Right. And the same with all the tips that we gave before. I mean, a lot of them, even the discovery questions, you need to use it as a guide and make it yours so that you own it and it feels right. When you say it, it sounds right.
And that's probably one of the biggest things out there right now, is because I think now people are going to start wondering, is this the actual person or is this ChatGPT? So you really have to make sure that when you get anything that we're talking about, like Bryn said, from ChatGPT, that you make sure that it's in your voice. And the easiest way to do that is to take the ChatGPT output and read it out loud. If it kind of does sound like it comes from you, then fine, great, use it. Most of the time, no, it ain't going to sound like you. So what you need to do is say it out loud, kind of hear why it doesn't sound like you, address that, and then rewrite it, and then read it out loud again. If it sounds like you at that point, then go ahead and use it because it's ready.
I love that. I think that's awesome. The other thing you might be able to do, and I haven't done this, so this is all coming out, is put in using these 5 words. So recap, link, use these 5 words that are your words that you use all the time. I bet you it'll do it. And that'll help get it closer to your voice, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a LinkedIn user that's saying, and if you could type your name in chat, that would be great. So we know who you are. Try ChatGPT is not connected to the internet. Oh, it is. So you might be having some kind of error. And it will provide an outline of a current landing page. Check out our next group coaching, public group coaching at socialsaleslink.com/events. Bring your questions there. Once a month, we have an open house for everybody. It is actually connected, and you might be having an error that we can help you through.
Very good. Very good. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is comments. And these are comments I'm assuming that you make on other people's posts, correct, Bryn?
I think so.
Then yeah. So, and this is one thing that I have actually used, and it does work very well.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what it was for, but I basically typed in, write out or create a comment, reply to the following, and then I actually just copied the entire text of the comment, put it into ChatGPT, and let it do its thing, and it came out with a pretty good reply. But again, it did not sound like me, so I had to make sure that I rewrote it to sound like me, but the points that pulled out and everything were actually really, really good. So it's not necessarily ready for prime time once it immediately gets spit out of ChatGPT, but man, it's a fantastic start for you to really
hone it and
really get. definitely.
So I love that. If I could add to that, because I think that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Looking to up your LinkedIn game? The Social Sales Link team has you covered with our LinkedIn Sales Accelerator, a guided social selling program that includes training, coaching, and so much more. Visit socialsaleslink.com/in for more details. Again, that's socialsaleslink.com/in.
So recapping, grabbing the text from the post itself, pasting it into GPT. You can say recap in 2 sentences, because what happened, it might be a huge recap, but if you do recap in 1 sentence or top priority from this post, so they're play with it. They don't all work perfectly, but that what you're doing is right on there. So I absolutely love that. And sadly, it doesn't provide results since 2021. That may be the problem. ChatGPT was only trained on data through 2021. That is a good point, Stan. I don't want to completely assume, but I would think at this point, they're working on 22 and 23 and keeping it updated. But right now, it is old data.
Right. Yeah. So that's probably the other thing that you need to keep in mind just when it comes to using ChatGPT in general. Actually, 2 things. One, possibility of plagiarism unintentionally is there. It may pull something that somebody else used, and so you got to kind of watch out for that. And then the other thing again is the old data part. You're not going to be getting the absolute most recent data. So even though it may bring up something and you may be able to see if there's updated, but keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
use Google. Like,
Yeah.
check it out, fact check it.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Yep.
Yay. What's our next one, Bob?
Number 4 is polls, as in LinkedIn polls.
So I've actually done this. I've actually asked ChatGPT. It's a question with 4 answers under, is it 40 characters? Now I can't even remember how many characters it is in an answer.
Answers are 30.
30. So I said something, I don't remember exactly. So I'm going to just, but number 1 sales challenge account managers face, or the 4, that's what it was. 4 sales challenges account managers face in 30 characters for each answer. And it did it. It created 4 challenges, all within 30 characters. And actually, you really need to do 3 because 4 should always be other sharing comments. But it works. So if you were thinking about a poll and you want to do challenges, risks, priorities, right? All of those words, it's going to give you answers. It's very cool.
Yeah, a lot of people shy away from polls because they just can't think of.
Yay.
Number 5, ebook contents, which is huge.
Yeah, and this is like, we do a ton of ebooks. We've been self-generating them for how many years, Bob? I don't even know. Long time we've been doing. Yeah, very long time we've been doing our own ebooks. And I recognize, there's a point where you're like, I'm out of ideas, or as Bob said, you get kind of this, you hit a plateau and you're like, oh my God, I've done everything I could think of. If you put in like maybe just a question, like 10 social selling priorities sales leaders need to make for their teams, and it gives you them. And now if you want 10, do 25, because some of them won't be right. And then pick your 10 or whatever that might be. And then if it resonates, then I'm making it my own. But I'm really excited about the potential. Bob, how much time do you think it takes just for the content from a typical ebook when we actually write them? Couple hours?
I would say. Yeah, it depends on how restrained we're feeling, basically, because both of us could write tons and tons and tons of stuff about it, potentially.
Yeah, right. Was it Ben Franklin who wrote the letter? I would have written you a shorter letter, but I didn't have the time.
Right. Yep.
It's like one of my favorites, right?
Yep,
So
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's fun. So yeah, it is hard, the brevity piece, but all right, maybe 2 hours on average between Bob and myself, and then maybe an hour for our graphics guy. Now it's 15 minutes instead of 2 hours for us. And
Right,
then
because again, yeah, we still have to make sure that it sounds like us and that everything is actually correct in there, and go through those steps. So, again, don't just pull and just post. No matter what it is you're doing, don't just pull and post. Read it.
love it. Okay, where are we?
We're on number 6, articles, which actually is kind of similar to ebook content, except you're only talking about particular one particular thing that you need to write about in what 200 to 500 words, whatever the new magic number for articles is nowadays.
And you tell it how many words you want.
Yes, I know, it's so cool.
Right. So so Bob, what's a topic you might write on?
5 ways that salespeople are using LinkedIn incorrectly.
Okay. So you put that in 5 ways sales professionals are using LinkedIn incorrectly, 500 words.
Yep.
And it will literally give you as close to 500 words as you can imagine. That's all you have to do. I mean, it's crazy. Read it, personalize it. But guys, it has never been easier to show up as a thought leader.
So the last one, which I think is really good for people who aren't really, marketers full time and yet who need to do this for their business. Number 7 is newsletters.
Yeah, I mean, and this is interesting to me. And now as I'm thinking about this, because we're stuck in that 2021 for newsletters, we might have to use it differently than I was originally thinking. Again, this is like on the fly and new. But let's say in your newsletter, you want to highlight 5 podcasts in your industry. You can easily recap those podcasts and have this, it's your thoughts around that podcast. You can, I mean, when you're doing a newsletter, you want to have different sections. So maybe you have an influencer of the week and you grab their LinkedIn URL and recap who they are. I mean, there's just so many different ways you can talk about. So I wanted to do this for trending topics, but if it's 2021, it's not trending topics. Oh, here's what you do. Go to Google, find the trending topics that you want to add to your newsletter, and then use ChatGPT for your write-up of each of those. That's how to do
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Have you used the word prompt engineering as the craft of asking AI for information? I have not. I will give that a try. I will tell you the most interesting thing I'm seeing outside of social selling is programming. Like programmers that are stuck or having an error, they stick it in their JavaScript or their Python code into ChatGPT and it fixes it. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. So Jay, prompt engineering is a concept in AI, particularly natural language, NLP, which actually one of my older sons went to school for. In prompt engineering, the description of the task is embedded in the input as a question instead of being implicitly given. Oh, I like that. I would never have thought of prompt engineering, but that's great.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Copied that from Wikipedia. Okay, well, that's good. I gave money to Wikipedia. They've been asking for so long. I'm like, you know what? I use you. I gave them $25. Anyway, moving on.
So moving on. Yeah. So, so this, in summary, everybody is still just scratching the surface, I think, when it comes to ChatGPT, where we're going to figure out a whole heck of a lot more uses for it. I would just personally say, as long as you are still, you're being genuine, you're being transparent, and you're putting things in your voice and making sure that the data is not old if there's data in it, and making sure that you're not unintentionally plagiarizing someone, it could be a fantastic tool to really help you trim so much time out of some of these social selling tasks that you need to do, and so that you could actually imagine this, do more selling.
So I'm going to invite everyone, go to socialselling.com/events, scroll to the bottom and you'll see our next open house coaching. And come on in and ask your ChatGPT questions because we're excited to answer them.
Yep. socialsaleslink.com/events is where you want to go. So thanks again for joining us on Making Sales Social Live. That's a sentence that I wrote myself. It was not generated by ChatGPT. If you're with us live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere else, right now we do this every week. So keep an eye out for our live sessions. If you're listening to us on our podcast and you haven't subscribed already, subscribe or follow us. We'd appreciate it. If you'd like more info on our podcast, it's socialsaleslink.com/podcast. Again, socialsaleslink.com/podcast. We do 2 shows weekly, this one and our Making Sales Social interview series, where we talk with leaders and experts in sales, marketing, business, and many more areas. So when you are out and about, be sure to make your sales
social.
Thanks, everybody.
Don't miss an episode. Visit socialsaleslink.com/podcast. Leave a review down below. Tell us what you think, what you learned, and what you want to hear from us next. Register for free resources at linkedinlibrary.com. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Play. Visit our website, socialsaleslink.com, for more information.